God.
Hey all, Ben Friedman here, film critic. I got the chance to see The Exorcist Believer early, and I just wanted to give a quick review for this movie. This is a sequel to the 1973 film. This sees returning cast members, including Ellen Burstyn mainly, and this film also stars Leslie Odom Jr. of Hamilton fame. This is a very standard Exorcist movie in premise. The Exorcist Believer just follows two girls who get possessed by a demon, and they have to perform an exorcist. You know the beats of The Exorcist. It's one of the most famous horror films ever. David Gordon Green directs this movie. He has directed such horror films before as the Halloween trilogy, which starred Jamie Lee Curtis, that came out a few years ago. I liked the first movie. I did not like the sequel, so I was curious going into The Exorcist Believer to see what I would think of it and see if David Gordon Green could do something cool with this movie. And after seeing it in theaters, I am disappointed to say that this was kind of a mixed bag for me. One, the biggest issue I had with The Exorcist Believer is it's simply not scary. This movie comes in at about an hour 50, and it has two, maybe three really good scares in it. The rest is a little tedious, it's slow, and it really just goes too far away from The Exorcist, the original kind of premise. It just takes a lot of the fun out of this. You know, The Exorcist, when it came out, it was such a shocking film for the studio to release, and now I think maybe this is the quality of other studio horror films, but what felt shocking in 1973 now has kind of become the norm, and this didn't elevate itself to adapt with the times. So what was once scary in 1973, when they recycle it in this movie, it's the impact is lost. And it's also the difference of William Friedkin, who directed the first movie from 1973, a really talented director who's done a lot of incredible work, who just recently passed away. It's the quality of him understanding tension and pacing. You know, the first Exorcist film is a much longer movie, coming in closer to 2.5 hours, versus this movie, which is an hour 50. The pacing's just off. You have this relationship between Leslie Odom Jr. and his daughter character, and those characters go missing, and that's when they get possessed. And you just don't spend enough time with Leslie Odom Jr. and the daughter, and specifically also the other family whose daughter gets possessed. You don't spend any time with the parent-daughter relationship, unlike the original Exorcist, where you spend time with the mom and Reagan, and it's a slow burn to the demon possessing. And it makes for an experience where you just don't really care about the two girls being possessed. Leslie Odom Jr. does the best that he can do with this script. I think he's actually quite good in this role. He's a very charismatic lead, and I think the movie works best when they focus on him. I wanted more from the actual character, but in terms of his performance, I thought it was rock solid. I will just say the Ellen Burstyn role in this film is memorable, but I don't think it really amounts to much. And as the film trods along, and as we're building to the third act, I kind of kept having this thought where I'm just like, are we already getting there? Like, are we getting to the final Exorcist? And we get there, and it's so fast, and it's just so poorly shot in multiple scenes. I don't think there's any tension. I don't think there is any fright to it. And it's kind of rushing to its third act finale that doesn't lead to much. The Exorcist Believer decides to focus away from the Catholicism of the story. And while Christianity, the idea of Satan versus Jesus, like that's still present in this story, the Catholicism nature of it, like the little details of how to perform an exorcism from the Catholic root, just the history of that, the origins, what that means in the Catholic theology, all of that is kind of stripped away from this movie to be a little bit more broad. And in broadening it, you lose the specificity of it. Thus, the horror doesn't feel as well realized and contained, and thus it just kind of amounts to nothing. And I didn't find that this movie was unenjoyable. It was a really quick, breezy watch with good performances throughout. I think most of the performances are really good in this film. The woman whose name I'm blanking on, who plays the nurse in this film in particular, is really a great actress, and I thought she worked the best in this movie. But it is just simply, this movie is, we get there, we're trying to build to something, and it doesn't lead anywhere. The Exorcist Believer, I can give it a, I enjoyed watching it, but I don't think it's a good movie, and I was left pretty disappointed by it. I'm giving it 2.5 out of 4 stars. Thank you all for watching this video. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe to this channel. My name is Ben Friedman, film critic. Thank you all for watching. Take care, and bye-bye.